Jiena nħobb iż-żgħażagħ.
All right, Vince. Kif int?
U vera nħobb l-anzjani.
Tajjeb. U il-mami, okej?
Jien Peter Buġejja.
Min Mars għal-Kant, il-lokalità fejn twelidt u qed ngħix. Jien qed nirrepreżenta għall-elezzjoni għas-Sindku ta' Mars għal-Kant, din lokalità ġmiela b'ħafna storja. Hawnhekk kien fejn il-Baħrin kienu jiġu biex jiskru u jkantaw. Għalhekk Mars għal-Kant għax il-kant l-aħjar ħaġa fid-dinja.
Ivvutaw fl-elezzjoni li jmiss għal Peter Buġejja, Sindku tal-Kunsill Lokali Mars għal-Kant.
What's Fresh Prince?
Yes, design. Noah Attard Montaldo, the boy with the most riz in the biz. And I am advancing in my political career as mayor candidate for Mars Kant. So make sure to like, subscribe, and vote for me as your mayor. Stay slay and shouts out to the gays.
Daw it-tfal tal-lum jasmu li jifmu f'kollox. Anka dik tal-Eurovision, anka jisem xxiet. Fakin bil-pastazzati tagħha. Imma insomma, għalhekk illum jindaħħal ftit żgħażagħ biex nallimhom kif jaħdem il-gvern u kif tkun mexxej tal-ostja.
Se tkeċċini. Jien ilni hawn dal-aħħar 20 sena.
Rut, il-gvern ma nkeċċix nies. Aħna ġest intuk transfer, nsibu lek posta ħjar.
Imma xorta għadni ma nistax nifhem x'għamilt ħażin.
Xejn m'għamilt ħażin mhux it-tort tiegħek, laqas id-deċiżjoni tiegħi ma kienet minn ta' fuqi. Id-deċiżjoni tiegħi kienet u totalment tort tagħha, kif tridni nikkonċentra lili. Imma, anyway, issa sibt waħda għadha żgħira, ġdida biex żgur ħadd ma jħares lejha. Bianca, nice to see you again. Welcome. This is going to be your desk.
I just moved here from Sicily 2 weeks ago. I'm not used to find jobs so quickly. They didn't even ask for my CV.
Issa, normally I would show you around, but today I'm very busy. I have to spend all day in the cockpit. It's what I call my office, just a little joke. But don't worry, I'm leaving you with my best man. He's right here. Have fun.
Salve, io sono Colero.
Piacere, parlo italiano, sono Bianca. Dove l'hai imparato l'italiano? So che qui lo parlano le persone in TV, a scuola.
Andiamo?
Sì.
Peter chose me to show Bianca around the office because I'm learning Italian on Duolingo.
Doesn't he only have 10 days?
Ija, senjura, qed nifhem x'qed tistaqsini, imma qed nipprova nara kif ħanejnek. Is-sinjura Azzopardi toqgħod iċċempilli kull siegħa u li ftaqret fuq il-barranin u żgħażagħ ma tagħmilx. Okej. Ħanejlek, trix tiġi waħda sol-office ħalli niddiskutwa ftit. Okej, tajjeb. Narak dal-waqt mela. Grazzi.
Ma nafx kif tibqa' daqbadu.
Xi trinni nagħmel ġew, jekk tibqa' ċempel.
Rule 1. Ix-xieħat tiegħu numru ta' dipartiment ieħor u ma teġax tisma' bi aktar. Far.
Ara naqra, boss. Ara naqra. F'sija biss l-statelek kollox. Batlek il-keyboard, il-mouse, l-screen mal-computer, pen drive, calculator biex toħtot slides.
John il-champion.
Thank you. X'qed tara hemmhekk, boss?
Dan u saħnu.
X'għandu?
U daw għamlu show. Jitnejku bil-kunsilli demma.
Naqra.
Ma tistax.
Naqra.
ċertu affarijiet.
La rispett.
U le, il-kunsill, il-gvern, ċertu affarijiet irid ikollhom reverenza, rispett. Ma tistax għamilhom u.
Kulħadd iġi jagħhom.
Le, foxxhomhom, insomma. Mela, bdejna? All right, welcome to the cockpit. This is where the magic happens. Don't worry, I will speak in English for you, okay?
Jiena Maltija, ta'
Anka jien.
All right, għastemmel il-Maltin l-lumu. Stja.
Sorry, could you speak in English, please?
Okay, I've prepared a presentation for you today. Let's start.
Bonġu, jiena s-Sinjura Marilyn Azzopardi u l-lum għandi appuntament urġenti ma tal...
Sorry, could you speak in English, please?
Emmi xelwa, mux ek jonqos tara xukol. Hija tittex dal-pajis.
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Bonġu, Sinjura Azzopardi. Jien Sharon, konna nitkellmu fuq it-telefon. Tix tiġi miegħi nkomplu nitkellmu fil-kwiet?
Iva, ta' naħseb aħjarek.
Okay.
Why is everyone so angry?
Ħalka fa' Sinjura. Allura, ngħidli.
Ara, ħanajlek nispjegalek, għax jiena norganizza l-fundraising tal-Knisja. Għabel kont immur door to door ta' emmissa l-lum il-ġurnata sek tibża torġ fit-triq.
Ma tibżalix.
Ifhem, żgħażagħ b'sata saw kemm trid. U kull fejn tmur hawn ħafna suwed.
X'toppa ngħidilha.
So, I am going to teach you today how to work in government. All right? Now, sorry for the picture of the old president, imma don't worry, the information in the presentation is always going to be relevant. Okay? Mela. Let us start with what is the government? All right, let's clear up some confusions because people have an idea of what the government is. The typical idea is the government is a group of people governing an organized community, generally a state. And what does the government do? The government does oversee and administer specific services needed by you and your community. Issa, we are all smart here. So we know that these definitions are rubbish. Alright? So, what is the government really? A government is a group of people that won a popularity contest, so now we have to do what they say. And what does the government really do? A government does not care about you or the community, they care about what the people with money care about, which is generally money and or horse. So what? Well, inkomplu with a small quote, the government doesn't solve problems, it just hires them. So what? This was said by me in 2023, and so I'm going to help you avoid becoming a problem by teaching you, I don't know.
I went to church the other day.
Good for you.
Yeah. Usually I don't go, but like the priest that like pervs on me wasn't there, so like I had a different priest and he was really alright. So I said, let me go. And there was like barely any people.
Yeah, my nana went to church last week. She said there was like 2 people there.
So how funny you. We used to like so many people used to go to church and now no one. I wonder why. I don't know, like
You know, because you kind of just sort of sit there. You know, and
you stand up, then you kneel down. I think they should like make it into like a musical or something.
They put a bit of fucking showmanship in it, for God's sake.
Because even the songs are fucking dreary.
It's an old man, make it a sexy woman.
Like, come on, give us
you know those ones
spunk,
where they have
you know?
the tassels?
Ah, yes.
You know, if she was going like she's reading gospel.
Yeah. Imagine the host.
Every time you say a
shrooms
Hail Mary, she takes off an item.
Imagine host with shrooms.
Of clothing.
Amazing. Like, you have to get people engaged like that. Like, give me a reason to
even
go.
Even the host. I wouldn't go that far, but like a bit of melted cheese.
Ah, man, like, okay, garlic bread host. Garlic bread host.
We should write this down.
Who wouldn't want garlic bread host?
And then they go to phase 5, tower gets built, the person with money is happy, and the minister is rewarded with a plaque on a flyover. So what? Alright.
Ara hi, irridu namluha, issa ċerta ħin, daw n-nies ma nistawx jibqgħu barra.
Ma taf li ma nistawx narrestaw in-nies ġast kif jidru, sinjura.
Nifmek hija xanka dal-ħafna serbi, xi kultant qassinduna li mhux Maltin. Nkella bħal ditċawla, gerbxit.
What's your problem with me?
You come to my country. You want to change my culture. Ma, how selfish.
I don't even know who you are.
Le, ma tafnix, hija.
Għalix tu problema ċisna, literalment,
Stenna! You cannot speak to her like that. Literalment ma mlitlek xej. Okay, toqgħod maqdar in-nispitri bħal kif qed maqdar lila. Min jaf, forsi int il-problema, sinjura.
Ara issa kemm biddilnija l-folja. Jak jisħa. Ara ħammur inkellem is-Sindku fuqkom.
Issa, don't worry, we're almost finished. We only have about presopogo, maybe 22 slides. How nice they are. Okay. Another one like this. Sorry, it's my assistant helped me make this. Oh wait, yeah, she's doing some glitch or something. Oh, Johnny, xed jiġri għam?
Ah, xed jiġri.
Għet jiffakja, ma nafx xed jgħamil.
Muxint, l-assistent u kol, mux assistent.
Isma, fidejk, il-ranġa, għandi fucking 20 slide.
Muxint il-calculator, issa fidejk il-konta
Mela. Everyone, we're having some technical difficulties. Johnny is going to handle it, but in the meantime, you can ask me some questions. I'm sure you have something. Yes, please.
So jirrit naħdem 3 xogħlijiet biex nagħti sormi?
Tista' jekk trid, jekk tista' taħdem erba' ta' tlaħjar. Tajjeb.
Sorry, you keep talking about covering your ass, and it just seems a little bit dishonest.
No, I'm honest. I'm telling you, you need to cover your ass, and I do it the best.
Jibba nafs kem taħsibna bolla, l-ewwel ħatajt kif taħx is-sistema u tiftaħar bija. Mbagħad ħatajt kif tebita x-xogħol u prattikament ma tagħmel xejn. Biex imbagħad nibdew tibda tiftaħar bik innifsek u tajt kemm inti laqwa, kemm inti onest, kemm inti brillanti u kemm għandna bżonn nies bħalek. Biex imbagħad l-slide eżatta wara ħatajt li ħadd ma jemmen li politikant onest imma b'xi miraklu inti l-eċċessjoni. U għana suppost nemnuha.
Due respect, you know, we keep asking you questions and you clearly don't know how to answer them. You know, you keep talking about making a mistake and then covering your ass. You know, I feel like if you want to make a mistake, then you should at least apologize, okay, and then exactly after fix the mistake.
No, but you fix the mistake by apologize. You say sorry. Listen, you are young. You don't understand how these things work. I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to teach you how these things work.
You know what? I spent like an hour trying to get here because the buses are horrible, and I feel like that's on you as well. I did not come here to get dismissed. I'm sure no one else here came to get dismissed. So you know what? I'm done. I'm leaving. Okay.
There's another 20 slides. You saw at the beginning. Johnny, tal-est. Isma, stenna, wait. There's...
Oh, xej.
Fucking tortijak. Għalfej ma rranġajtux il-presentation.
Mux int musax il-calculator.
Oh.
Xabba,
Shit, farta.
Kem edin sew. Fejnu Sindku? Inti ta' fejnu?
Ma
kif ħadd musajjejn illum? Ma irsaq minn nofs int.
Oh, jiena Sindku, x'in għalissa?
Ħaniġġennen, ħadd mu jgħin illum.
Ma x'ġara Sindku?
X'ġara? Daż-żibel li jaf Marsalkan, daż-żgħażagħ b'sata slaw.
Żgħażagħ tibdilx fuq żgħażagħ illum sinjura għax il-kulħadd dej u l-kulħadd tistja.
Ajja, għall-inqas xi ħadd qed jifhimni.
Oh, mela ma nifhmekx, ħanajdlek se nagħmel. Jiena, okay, ħanagħmel rapport fis-sistema biex nibdew il-proċess. Imma, ħu dan number ukoll. All right? Daw ċempillhom waħda jgħidulhom il-problema u ma la jaqduk, okay? Imma taf kif huma daw id-dipartimenti tal-gvern tiddejdejhomna.
Grazzi jibni, taħu kemm minn żbejja ħalma jbdilek, kemm inti bravu. Ħanonqek waħda ta'.
Mela.
Okay. Grazzi. Saħħa, ta'
Mhux
saħħa.
problema. Good day. Tara? Kif issolvihom il-problemi?
Dik ħatibqa' ċempillek ta'.
Mhux iċċempilli. Sharon, rule number 1. Dika tajta number ta' dipartimenti ieħor tal-gvern, sakemm terġa' tiġiraw tkun lesta l-ilba tabut.
Hi, Sharon. Hi. Listen, I just wanted to tell you thank you for sticking up for me today. That's what you were doing, right?
Yes.
Good. You were the only one who wasn't crazy today. You okay? Hug?
Yeah.
Quite a bunch, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
What did I learn today? Li jekk persona timxi fil-ħajja tittaħxi.
If Peter can make it despite his many flaws, honestly, it was very inspiring.
I had very fun today. Didn't understand anything, but good experience. Free credit.
What did I learn today? I learned how to order coffee in Italian on Duolingo. Posso comprare un latte macchiato, per favore. So, I don't know what the next lesson is, but I'm very excited.
Last time I tried the new Starbucks Frappuccino. Really good. So pumpkin spice latte Frappuccino with oat milk in it and then cocoa powder on top. And if you want, whipped cream as well. Amazing.
Inti bħala adult mort ordna dak bħala kafe.
I'm an adult.
Kemm infaqt?
Ejdilna.
5, 6 jew 7 euros.
Le, 5.50.
5.50. Nixtri 10 te fit-tazza. 5.50. Ġej biżobt oat milk u cocoa powder u badda għalli bata zimel biex jiġi frotti. Għana jgħidlek kif ta' għana jgħidlek tazza dawk hekk li tuk ta' Nutella, right? Umbagħad titte 10%, bad 90% ħalib tal-bot. Tnejn sokkor, jekk inti raġel.
Kolla l-istat. Dan ta' Starbucks
jew kafe. Dan kafe.
Mela, sob ta' Costa Rica.